Just a couple of months after 9/11, it might have been a year, I don't really remember. I went down to visit my parents in Florida. And on the beach, I met one of their neighbors. He's a dentist. And he tells me how he's joined the Naval Reserves. He wants to give back to the troops. And I think, well, I have things to offer. So when I get back, I go online and I fill out the application for the Naval Reserves. And I get a call. And the naval officer has my application in front of him. And he says, so I'm telling you, at your age, you got to walk on water to get accepted here. I'm 40. I'm maybe 2 years past the cutoff. And I can't stand it. I'm like, dude, I have a PhD in Islamic history. I'm a 2-time Fulbright scholar to Egypt. I read newspaper Arabic. I speak Egyptian street Arabic without an accent. I code HTML in a text editor. And I'm pretty fluent in a lot of internet technologies. So you tell me where you think I'm not walking on water. They did not pursue my application. And as interesting as my resume is, I can't help wondering if that naval officer saw what I see when I look back on my life. In sailing, we call it a snake wake. It's that wending serpentine path that a boat makes as it slices through the water when somebody who doesn't really know what she's doing is skippering. Maybe she's a little high. Maybe she's drunk. More likely, she doesn't really know what she's doing. She doesn't understand the ways in which the current, the wind, the waves influence the path of that boat. And maybe she'll make it through the course. Maybe she won't. Maybe she'll get to the destination. Maybe she won't. But what she does need, she needs something really foundational to help at least smooth the way. So I, in the last few years, have developed a certain expertise in the colorless, arcane discipline of corporate governance. Corporate governance is like the seasonless wool crepe of management science. Unsexy, dependable, and favored by corporate lawyers the world over. Corporate governance offers up a holistic, principled decision-making framework so that boards of directors can be stewards of the company or the organization they're overseeing. It's like the wheelhouse, right? Where ethics are upheld, risk is managed, finances are monitored, and leadership is scrutinized. You know, companies with a good board, they're never in the business pages. Companies with bad boards side-eye the risk, and they try to make things go away when leadership fails. Looking at you, Wells Fargo, Pacific Gas and Electric, Uber, WeWork, right? So I come from a sailing background, so let's get back on my boat, which, guided only by the fact that I have good grades in Latin, is heading off towards college. Now, positioning yourself as a potential as a potential classics major is a great way to get into college. It's a less robust springboard for what comes after college. In my senior year, I started getting interested in Islamic history. And so, prodded by an art history professor, I wrote a proposal for a fellowship comparing early Christian and early Islamic architecture. I won the fellowship, and after graduation, I spent the ensuing 18 months traveling to 5 countries in the Mediterranean. Cool story, bro. I got back. Now what? I have expertise in Mediterranean culture, kind of know what's going on, and I have no frickin' idea how to leverage this terrific experience into a logical career path. So I shrug. I go back to my summer job on Wall Street. I take my Series 7. Now I can legally trade stocks. And I start calling around to see if maybe there's some night school in Arabic class I can take, because I heard it when I was in Egypt, and it's a dope language. So I get a call, and much to my surprise, they invite me to come back into the graduate program with a free ride and a stipend. I'm like, lit. I'm down for a PhD. 7 years later, I get my PhD in the 90s. And I know this is shocking, but nobody cares about Islam, the Middle East, or the Arabic language. I have a lot of knowledge. I have expertise. I'm a great writer. My Arabic was pretty good. And I can't find a job. Now, if I could have drawn on my knowledge of corporate governance, I might have put together an ad hoc board of directors. They would have helped me craft a mission statement, understand my ethics and values. Then we would have undertaken a strategic planning exercise, and we would have answered the questions, where are you now? Where are you going? What are you going to do when you get there? And what needs to change? Maybe as part of that exercise, we would have done a SWOT matrix. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And then, having done that, we would have, they would have asked me for financials. I might have put together a financial case for the launch of this great new product, me, and how I was going to get that great new product to financial viability, right? And then after that, we'd look at the risks. What obstacles would I face along the way? And then my board and I would have frequent conversations during which they would hold me accountable, check on my progress, make sure I was hewing to my mission and values, and help me execute on strategy. But you guys know the punchline. I didn't have that. So this guy I didn't know for very long. He asked me to marry him. And I didn't have a good reason to say no. So 2 years later, I have a new husband. I have a new career. I have 2 under 2. And my untreated clinical depression comes roaring in like a gale force wind, and I'm starting to fantasize about the ways that I can get away from this really heavy, unbearable weight. Darkness that is so engulfing, I don't know who I am some days. And it doesn't matter that I have these 2 babies to whom I'm deeply connected. The pain is the pain. terrible. Somehow I find myself to a therapist, and she's like my first chairman of the board. Right? Like suddenly I'm standing there and I have somebody standing next to me who's kind of helping me develop purpose. We kind of have a strategy. She's just kind of getting me through. And so here I am, right? I volunteer on a platform called catchafire.org. Catch a Fire matches volunteer experts with not-for-profits that need expertise. And one thing that happens with not-for-profits is that they use their boards like ATMs, right? Whenever cash flow is a little tight, you got to fill an operational hole, a hole in the operational budget, you call the board members. And in reality, boards are better managed as a talent pool of experts who have a deep connection to your mission, corporate or not-for-profit, or whatever it is. And they are there to help you stabilize your business plan, ensure the viability of your organization. And been thinking a lot about taking those governance principles and bringing it closer. You can imagine I have a really hard time talking about what I do to my friends and even to my clients. Clients don't want to deal with boards. Boards is like one other thing I have to manage. Are you kidding me? But well managed, they keep you out of trouble. They hold you accountable. They make your leadership transparent. Hopefully they have the courage to ask you the right questions. And that's something we all want. So the program I've been playing with, governance begins at home. Because I think it's foundational. I think that having that kind of platform under your feet, hewing to some of those issues, looking at your risk, looking at your financials, taking care of stewardship, ensures longevity. Earlier this week, I had a call with 2 people through the Catch a Fire platform, and they had started a school in Tanzania, in a remote village in Tanzania. The school's doing well, but they're concerned about the economic or the long-term viability of the organization, especially now that the village's resources have become almost inextricably intertwined with the school. So the success or failure, in some ways, means the success or failure of an entire village. As we finished the call, I did my 30-minute spiel on Board Governance 101. I like to think that I could almost hear this exhale of relief, like, oh my God, the Holy Grail, we found it. Okay, I'm embellishing a little bit, but suddenly they had a platform that made sense for them. And that's what I hope for, and that's the big idea that I'm taking forward, and thank you.